Well, I think your position's very much moved, hasn't it, from Nick Clegg and the TV debates with Nigel Farage. But I think what's interesting is you're constantly talking
not at all.
idea
Nick
about
Nick Clegg's position has not
back.
changed at all since the debates with Nigel Farage.
Taking powers from us day in, day out. Look at what
well,
happens on the 1st of this month. Yes, it's not nonsense at all. 40 different areas of competency were relinquished to Brussels on the 1st of November, just this month. All the benefits that we have of Europe, and yes, of course there are benefits, all of those benefits we could have if we just had a trading relationship with Europe, which is what UKIP's asking for.
Well, like Norway,
political union
like
we don't want. We don't want the flag, we don't want the anthem, we don't want the laws taking us over. We don't want the parliament, we don't want this bizarre
so this
president.
Is an argument about flags and national anthems, is it?
I'm using it as a metaphor. You know exactly what I mean. We don't.
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking the question.
Right. And what I don't understand is why any of the main.
So you're suggesting a situation like Norway,
union.
Are you?
No,
when Norway has to obey all the rules of the EU, but it has no say.
Influence. OK, well, let's talk about influence, have we? How many votes have there been at the Council of Ministers? 55 votes when we voted no, and it's gone on to become law anyway. I'm sorry, we don't have any influence as it stands at the moment. It's a joke.
Tell me this. If you find yourself as one of the kingmakers in the day after the next, or the weekend after the next election, will you limit yourself to the sole demand that whoever forms the government will give you a referendum?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Certainly it's got to be the #1 demand, and I suspect that would be the ultimate deal breaker or deal maker, wouldn't it? But I think, again, we wouldn't go into coalition. It would definitely
No, I understand that.
No, I understand arrangement.
That you wouldn't do that. And is there concern on the Conservative side that that the expectations of the powers you can repatriate are never going to be met?
No, I don't really agree with that. And I've been a Eurosceptic all my life. I was a director of the No campaign.
You stood for UKIP.
I was a UKIP candidate in '99, probably for
quite a Tory and a UKIP.
That was when they weren't
Tory
doing well.
switcher and a UKIP.
They did OK in '99. If you look at your graph, we didn't do bad in '99 when I was there for them. But look, I left UKIP because they're basically, in my view, a counterproductive liability to anyone who wants a reform in Europe and anyone who's a genuine Eurosceptic. They undermined the debate and the case against joining the euro. They're a liability to the No campaign in the euro debate. They're a liability now.
Joining the euro. Thank goodness for that.
No, sorry, no, you undermined the case for keeping the pound because the UKIP's argument at the time was directly aligned with Britain in Europe, which was saying the only way to keep the pound is to, you have to leave the European Union if you want to keep the pound. That's what Britain in Europe was saying, is what UKIP was saying. They undermined the case. We now know that was complete nonsense because we've kept the pound and we're still in the European Union. But again, UKIP now are actually undermining the prospects of having a referendum on our future in the European Union, undermining the prospects of having that renegotiation. And to answer this question, is a renegotiation possible? Of course it is. People say, well, you can't do it. No one's tried yet. Tony Blair never tried. He was always in favour of passing more powers to the European Union. And countries like Germany and France, they don't want the UK to leave the EU. They recognise that there's a political mood here that we want some powers returned. We want to stay in the single market, but we want certain powers back. And of course it's possible to have that negotiation. And what you do in these situations, you get a political settlement and then you sort out. You get the lawyers in and they sort out the legal stuff after. All right. So this is completely doable. I'm absolutely confident David Cameron can do it. And that's why, we need a majority Conservative government.
But ultimately, David Cameron is committed to the increasing expansion of the European Union, isn't he? Which again takes us back to influence, because the more countries that join, the even less voting percentage share that we have, and the even less.
No, but that's not true. If you're bringing some powers back so that they become, a national competence again, and they're not subject to QMV.
What realistically are we going to get back? We're not going to get the right to control our own borders again back, are we? It's a fundamental founding principle of the European Union. It's not going to happen, and it's 75% of the people. That's for them. The immigration, this open borders, is the one thing that we want changed. That is the one thing that originally David Cameron
I just think UKIP are incredibly defeatist on this because they say it's impossible to renegotiate.
I wish I could be positive, but I can't.
All right. Well,